when I came up back in 1915 as a shortstop, I was the worst hitter ever came up to the big league.
That was the clear and sometimes controversial voice of Rogers Hornsby. And this is Thompson Sports, a production of the United States Air Force. This is Kyle Rowe. Today we're privileged to speak with Rogers Hornsby, Hall of Famer, member of baseball's Elite 400 Club, and one of the game's finest batting instructors. But first, this interesting message.
Folks, welcome to Vintage Baseball Reflections. I am Tom, the baseball nostalgia guy, bringing you these treasured pieces. Do you miss the good old days of listening to baseball through radios? It was a classic pastime that stood for decades and shaped how we cherish baseball and our heroes. These stories are from a moment in time that were heard by fans just like you. They are uncut, unfiltered, simply here for you to enjoy. So I just want you to enjoy this reflection on baseball history.
On the aerospace team, there's a place for tomorrow's leaders.
From South Hadley Falls, Massachusetts, First Lieutenant Donald Dean says,
when I graduated from Holy Cross College, I went to Officers Training School, where I spent 3 months and received my commission as a second lieutenant. Then I went to Navigator School, and today I'm flying one of the Air Force's fastest jets, the C-135. And I tell you this, if I had a kid brother, I'd recommend the Air Force as a way of life.
if you are a college graduate, you may be eligible for Air Force Officer Training School. Then, as an Air Force officer, you may study for a graduate degree in your field or take flight training and become a pilot or navigator. Now, more than ever, there's a place for tomorrow's leaders on the aerospace team, the United States Air Force.
If you aim to be a leader tomorrow, see your Air Force recruiter today.
Rogers Hornsby, you compile the highest major league batting average of any man alive today. I believe it was a career average of .358. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And how many seasons does that cover?
23 and a half years in the major league.
And during that time, you batted better than .400 on 3 separate occasions, didn't you?
Yes, and for 5 years consecutively, they had him up at 402 for 5 years.
I'd like to point out to our listeners that Rogers Hornsby, in those 5 seasons, batted .397, .401, and slumped to .384, came back with a rousing .424, and in the 5th year of that amazing span, leveled off to .405, all with the St. Louis Cardinals. Roger, the New York baseball writers, I recall, honored you this past winter by naming you most valuable player for the year of 1924.
That's right. I hit .424 in 1924, and I guess that's the highest record of all times.
Uh-huh. Well, Roger, you're famous for the theory of aiming the ball up the middle. I know you teach that to your youngsters. Who taught it to you?
Well, of course, when I came up to the big leagues back in 1915 as a shortstop, weighing 135 pounds, I was the worst hitter ever came up to the big league. And my first major league manager was Miller Huggins. And, of course, then he suggested for me to choke up the bat practically up to the trademark like he hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and for that season in 1915, I hit .246. And, of course, he called me into the clubhouse, and he said to me, on account of your size, Hornsby, I think I'm going to have to farm you out next year. Well, being a country boy from down in Texas, I thought he wanted me to go down on the farm and go to work. I did that. And I rejoined the Cardinals in the spring of 1916 in San Antonio, Texas, where we trained, weighing 160 pounds. Then he saw that I put on the added weight, and he let me swing the bat from my natural way. He said I was strong enough then to get the bat around.
From the end of the bat.
And by listening to Huggins and the other older players and going out and putting into practice the things they suggested for me to do is the way I improved myself, and I hit 4th in the league that year, .313.
And that was only the start for Rogers Hornsby. Thanks very much for visiting with us.
Quite welcome. Glad to be on with you.
Fans, that was the incomparable Rogers Hornsby, and this has been Thompson Sports, brought to you by the United States Air Force. This is Kyle Rowe. Thompson Sports is written by Dick Young and produced by Brad Simpson for the United States Air Force in cooperation with this station.
They took the blue from the skies and the pretty girl's eyes and a touch of Old Glory's hue, and gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force blue. And you can wear it too, the U.S. Air Force blue.
VintageBaseballReflections.com features a treasure chest of baseball audio. The wonderful thing is the audio isn't a guy like me or a few talking heads reflecting on players, seasons, or teams. It is the actual players from that era, announcers from that era, giving you an uncut, unfiltered, unrecent day stance on what it was like then. These are real-time clips from that era. Now, we encourage you to check out our entire back catalog of baseball audio. And if you like old-time games, and folks, you are not alone. Join the membership section to enjoy interacting with fans, scoring games with folks just like you, and listening to hundreds of radio broadcasts that were baseball classics. As a special offer to you, type in This Day in Baseball for a discount just for you. And if you enjoyed the show, hit the plus sign to subscribe, follow us on the socials, and above all, share us with your friends who love baseball history just like you.